I mainly wanted to talk about imposter syndrome and first off, see if that is something that you know what it means or that you've experienced.
Yeah, so
So,
much.
yeah, all right, cool. Me too. And it's a syndrome or a difficulty that a lot of people face, and disproportionately more women um, for some reason. So, if you take the definition of it, it's basically doubting your skills, abilities, and talents, and then that can lead to the belief of that your skills, talents, and abilities are not worthy, and then that can actually escalate to a fear of being found out as being a fraud. So since we've all kind of experienced that sort of feeling, today I just kind of want to go through not necessarily labeling ourselves with having this syndrome or this problem that needs fixing, but more so getting to the root cause of it and what we can do and have in our tool belt to kind of, alleviate those things from happening. So just to start off with, I wanted to pick a word that you would say that your current career sort of symbolizes at the moment, and it can be anything. So take a moment to kind of think of one word when it comes to career and what that symbolizes. So if I think about where I'm at right now, I'll share. I think clarity would be my word and what I'm hoping for. You want to share yours, either of you two ladies? No? Okay, that's all right. So that word is something I want you to kind of keep in mind throughout the rest of the next 30 minutes or so. And if it is a negative connotation to it, like you know, say stress, if that's your word that kind of symbolizes what you feel about your career, I want you to think of ways that you can alleviate that or flip that to be a positive. If it's a positive word and you feel fulfilled, say, then think of ways to amplify that. So we'll come back to that later, but just kind of have your word in your mind. Um, so imposter syndrome, we're not going to settle too long on the actual, you know, meaning of it. It does have one characteristic that it's usually people that are high performing people are affected by it. So if there's any good thing you can take away, if you have felt imposter syndrome, it probably means that you're a high achiever and that you have great expectations of, what you are able to do and what you're able to bring to the table. But the main problem with that is it ends up being a Morbius loop. So you start with your achievement, and then you start to question whether you deserve it. So then you work harder to achieve more, and then start to question that again. And so we have to kind of catch ourselves in that loop. So first things first, if you're in this room, then obviously you're curious about imposter syndrome or you've experienced it. So just even the statement of the fact that you're not alone is something that I wanted to stress. You're not alone, and it's not abnormal to feel. It's not necessarily talked about a lot, and then if we do recognize that we're feeling it, we kind of feel a little bit of shame for feeling it at all. Like, why do I not have the confidence enough to not feel these feelings? So taking the shame away, it's okay to feel this feeling, but it's not okay to stay there. So, once you notice these thoughts, recognize them for what they are, but also realize that it's not okay to remain and kind of ruminate in that space. So some of the things that are really helpful are meditation. I don't know if anybody has a meditation practice or a regular one, but that's definitely been a really great way for me to ground myself. Meditation can be all different forms and can be 30 seconds to 10 minutes long, whatever kind of works for you and doesn't make it feel like it's an obstacle or an obligation to do. Meditation is one thing, and some affirmations, which I'll get to in a little bit. Affirmations, if you're not familiar with them, they're best when they're said out loud. You can write them down, and that's totally fine. But when you voice them and you feel that reverberation through your body, it's really a great way to kind of bring them to life. So when we come back to them, if anybody, I'm going to give you some options for affirmations. And if they don't resonate with you, then modify them or change them for yourself. But when we get to that, feel free to say them out loud as you're writing them down, because it really does kind of bring them to life. But first, I thought I'd start with a little bit of a centering, grounding meditation. So wherever you're seated, if you want to just get a little more comfortable. If you have your feet on the floor, just get a little more grounded. If you have your legs crossed, just feel your sit bones underneath you. Roll your shoulders back and get a little length in the spine. And if you feel comfortable, feel free to close your eyes. So as you close your eyes, start to just kind of work inwards from the outer layers of your body, starting from your skin through to your muscles, into your bones, and you're going to slowly start to work into the midline of the body and find your center right in the middle of the chest. And as you find it, notice the breath. And notice it without needing to change it. So maybe it's a little shallow. For most of us, it's a little shallow to begin with. And our breath kind of resonates right in the throat area, or maybe in the top of the lungs. As you're noticing it, also notice your exhale. Is your exhale full and is it connected? Or is it just kind of coming as it comes on its own? Now that we've noticed where it is, we're going to start to expand the breath. So expand the ribs out wide and really open up through the chest and send your breath all the way down into the base of the belly. And as you exhale, let it just release out the mouth or out the nose. You feel the belly and the chest, the ribs slightly compressed. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the nose or the mouth, whichever feels best. And through the nose. Through the mouth. We're going to try and set an intention together here. So you may have an individual intention for your day, for this practice. And if you have that and it comes to you naturally, then stick with that. If you're not feeling anything arise at the moment, as you inhale, I want you to inhale the sense of confidence and assurity, that knowing. And as you exhale, exhale doubt, fear, and second guessing. Inhaling confidence, exhaling doubt. Inhaling confidence, exhaling doubt. Inhaling confidence, exhaling doubt. Just continuing to breathe in your words and your intentions, and releasing the negative thoughts and the negative emotions that do not serve. Slowly bringing your chin to your chest, let your head drop heavy. And if your eyes were closed, go ahead and open them and come back into the Zoom room. So that one is a really nice tool that I like to use, just basically finding an intention that I inhale and releasing the opposite, anything that doesn't serve me, exhaling that out. So it can be two words, one that you inhale, one that you exhale, or it can just be an intention. And these tools are very, very simple, but the simpler they are, the easier they are to adhere to. So if you want to write down one or two of those words that we just focused on and come back to that later, you can do that. So I kind of wanted to just move on to the journaling section. So if you have a piece of paper or you want to type on your computer, I'm going to give you 4 prompts, and whichever thought or notion comes to your mind is the best one. So as soon as you hear the prompt, whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, run with that and try and avoid any analysis, because the mind is always going to wonder if this is the right thing or not. So first thought is always best thought. So go with that. So for our first one, question would be, what are some of the things that you feel currently hold you back in your career? What are some of the things that you feel are currently holding you back in your career? And it could literally be anything. It could be lack of knowledge as to where to take the next step. It could be your current work environment. It could be your current lack of work environment if you're looking for work. But something that might be holding you back currently in your career. So I'll give about a couple minutes, maybe a little less. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just kind of a discovery of things that may not have been thought of, and things that we can start to recognize might be obstacles standing in our way. Give about 20 more seconds here. You're just coming up with random words too, that is totally okay. Words that kind of embody the feeling that you have around the question. It doesn't have to be a whole sentence. All right. So we're gonna move on to prompt number 2. And the second prompt would be, what makes you unique? So we all have, peers or even competitors that are in our industry, and we all have people who do similar things to us, have similar skill sets. But what makes you unique in your skill set, in your maybe mix of skill sets? What makes you unique? Again, just a minute or so here to really dig in and write out as many qualities as you can. How are you unique? Myself. Just wrapping up the last couple. All right. So prompt number 3 is, what are some ways, or what is one way that I can use or share some of these skills? So it might be from the skill set that you just wrote down as to what makes you unique. It might be different skill sets. But what are some ways that you can use or share your unique skills and your gifts? And again, first thought is best thought. What are some of these ways? And they can be wildly creative, and they can be super simple. Another 20 seconds. Okay, coming to our last prompt. It's kind of a two-part question, but the first part is to write down 3 qualities that you are grateful for in a loved one. So you can pick anybody, pick a parent, your partner, your coworker, someone that you hold near and dear to you, and just write down 3 things about them that you're really grateful for that they have, the 3 qualities. Maybe they're generous, maybe they're super loving, maybe they're humorous, 3 qualities. And that should come pretty quick. And the second part of the question is write down 3 qualities that you're super grateful for in yourself. So find 3 qualities that you're super grateful for in yourself. Grateful that you have these attributes. Alrighty. So I'm going to open it up now and welcome Karen. I didn't get to say hi to you at the beginning, but if anybody, hi, nice to see you. If anyone wants to come off mute or share answers to any of those, or if any of those prompts were more difficult than others, maybe more challenging or less, or more easy, come on and go for it.
It was easy to figure out some of the stuff that was holding me back, which was sort of surprising.
Good. Was it nice to just have it written in one spot and kind of out of here? Good. Awesome. Awesome. I find that we, kind of know what these things are that are restrictive, yet until we write it down like a grocery list, we have no idea how to do anything about those things, and once you have it written down, it could be quite a simple solution to some of the things that are holding us back. Or they could also be some constructed things that we think are obstacles, but really are kind of like little tiny pebbles instead of big boulders that we make them out to be. So having that list is really great. Karen, did you have something? I think you're on mute. Oh, no worries. No worries. Sound trouble. If you want to type it in, you're welcome to share if you want to share something there. I've done this exercise quite a few times, and from the people that I've done it with, you have varying different answers as to which questions are more difficult. I know for myself, finding 3 qualities in somebody else that I loved was super easy because you love that person and it's really easy to kind of write that down. But finding 3 qualities that I loved about myself almost felt a little self-gratuitous. Or, how is that? That was a little more difficult to do. But these qualities that you love about yourself is a really good thing to have ready and handy so that you can kind of come back to, hey, I am really good at whatever it might be. Maybe it is connecting with people and icebreakers, or hey, I am really good at organizing. I do a really damn good job at that, and then you can also tie that into what makes you unique. So it is kind of all related. So what makes you unique, and having this set of things, also the skill set, having that list of things that make you special or that you have that others don't, can help you with prompt number 1, which is what are some of the things that are holding me back or in my way. Instead of seeing these obstacles, you also have a list of things that can combat those obstacles. So working these 4 prompts, you can see they're kind of interrelated. And number 3 also does help with number 1. How can I share these skills? Because it may be a block that you have somewhere in what's holding you back in your career, but when you realize the skill you have and how you can share it, that might be a way through one of your challenges. So I want to go especially to that skill of what makes us unique, and another, I guess, activity or exercise is actively looking for proof of where you succeeded. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time. It's kind of a bonus round prompt, but write down, I challenge you to write down 20. If you don't get to 20, that's fine. But write down 20 accomplishments that you're really proud of in your life. And this will serve as a really great tool to pull out in those times where you feel that your skill is maybe not up to par with your competitors or not up to par with what you think it should be. And this is a way to actively seek proof of your skills and your abilities in your career. So about a minute or so for this. Again, no wrong or right things, just things that you've accomplished that you're proud of in your life. And it can go way back, doesn't matter. But just, expound on those things. And they can be small things too. They don't have to be great, big competitions that you've won or races that you've done, or, they can just be anything that you've been proud of that you feel you really deserve. Probably another 20 seconds or so. Right. Finishing up one of the last ones you have there. I love this. Neither heads came up, and you guys look like you're writing furiously. This is awesome. How did we go with getting to about 20? Get close? Yeah, around there. Good. Good. It looked like you guys both could keep going. Yeah. Good stuff. So the homework and maybe possibly the hard part with that last prompt, this bonus round, is I would love for you to share that with somebody. Love for you to share that with a best friend or someone you love, and for them to have that list too. And if you want them to reciprocate and write you a list of their accomplishments, that's great too. But this is another tool that when you start to feel any sort of self-doubt or any sort of concern that what you're producing is not up to par, or that you'll be found out to be less than your competitors, that you can find this list, or you can find, call your friend or whoever it is that has this list about you, and they can read it back to you. And they can also reaffirm to you. I use this with one of my best friends in a similar fashion, but we call each other up and we say, hey, it's time for a pep talk. I really need this reaffirmation from somebody else who's outside of your head and outside of your thought process to say, hey, these are the things that I noticed that you can do really well. And they'll notice a separate set of things and accomplishments that you probably haven't even thought of. So there's an added bonus there. But you also have ones that you personally are proud of, and these are things that resonate with you. So that's the pull for those ones. So I'm kind of flying through all of these, and please do let me know if you want me to. I can email you the prompts that we started with, and also these affirmations affirmations. And all of these practices, Karen, I'm not sure if you were there at the beginning, but we started with a brief meditation, journaling prompts, and then, an accountability person or someone to share this with. And then lastly, affirmations. I'm, like I said, kind of skipping through them, but as you can see, you can do them pretty quickly. You only really need a minute or two, or you can spend some real good time, dig deep, and like really expound on these prompts and these questions. So, as I was saying with the affirmations, in the beginning, what we did do is pick a word that we thought our career resembled. And so I gave an example that mine was clarity. It's probably something that I'm seeking to have clarity as to which direction to go. It's one of those, you have too many forks in the road. So as you think about that word, think of how you can, if it's a positive word, if you right now feel fulfilled, how can you feel and expand upon beyond fulfilled? Can you make that fulfillment even bigger? If it's a negative, if it's something like stress, how can you start to reduce or eliminate that and flip it to a more positive word? Even if you're kind of faking it till you make it, you switch the word to feel, instead of stress, you feel secure. Maybe you don't quite feel secure, but if you can start to reaffirm that slowly and just flipping that to be a higher vibe, whatever your word is, how can you get that word to a higher vibe? So for the affirmations, you can totally use these or modify them to make them make sense for you. Use your words, please. So the first one, you want to write these down. You can take them or leave them, but this one is, my gifts are unique, powerful, and unlike anyone else's. I like to use this when I feel a bit of comparison syndrome going on, and we all see that wherever jumping on social or in any sort of circumstance. But if you feel like you're starting to compare yourself, my gifts are unique, powerful, and unlike anyone else. And then our second one, I really do like this one. I deserve to be here. I did not get here by chance. I deserve to be here. I did not get here by chance. Third one is, I am worthy of all my successes and celebrations. I'm worthy of all my successes and celebrations. And this one's important for things that you may doubt whether you worked hard enough to receive any sort of accolade or any sort of promotion, things like that. It's a good reminder to come back to, because nobody wants to have something that they feel they didn't work for. I have no doubt that you worked your butt off, and whether it was in that instance or maybe prior to get to that point, you're worthy of all your successes and your celebrations. And then the last one is, I have so much value to add and create. And I really believe that the second part of this one is important. I have so much value to add and create. Because I know that in situations we think we have a lot of value to add, so it's nice to reaffirm that, but also to recognize that we are continuously creative beings and we have more in the tank. It's not like we're going to get dried up or, just forget how to create, forget how to produce more value to bring to the table. Of course, there are times where you're not as full and not as, inspired, but there's always more gas in the tank than you. So those 4 affirmations are really, really helpful. And like I said, if there's different areas that you feel you need a little more reaffirmation in, change the words, change the tone, change whatever works. But saying these out loud is really, really cool because you feel that vibration in the body. And you also kind of talk to yourself in a way. And that's okay. If you're talking to yourself nicely, I'm all for it. There's just no negative chatter. Okay. So these things are things that I found really helped me. kind of come back to center. Because really, when we go off in this zone of, you know, am I imposter? Am I imposing a different thing? Am I not actually what I'm saying I am? It's really a rabbit hole, and you can go way deep. You can go far, and the thing is, we all do it, and it's okay. But it's not okay to stay there, like I was saying at the beginning. So it's okay to do that. Don't beat yourself up. It's kind of a natural human inclination to double check. Wait, am I as good as I thought I was? But it's not okay to stay there. So hopefully these tools will help you kind of reel it back in. And the part about sharing with somebody else, if you want to share with more people, the more the better, because having a community around you of people who reinforce you is so important, because you can't always rely on just your own tools of meditation and affirmation. Sometimes you need other positive reinforcement. So I'm going to open it up to you guys if you have any questions. I know we're kind of run over time a little since we started late, so I want to be mindful of your time. And thank you also for being here. But please, if you have some questions, pop them in the chat or come off mute. Let me know.
That was super helpful. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And if you want to connect with me, please do. My Instagram is Ancien Wellness, ANCIN Wellness. I'll always answer any questions or throw out any tips and tools that help me. Or you can, you know, email FOH and give you my direct email. It's just connect@Ancien Wellness.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Nice to meet you, ladies. And I don't know if LP is still here, but feel free to stay on and chat a bit more if you want to. Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
have a beautiful Monday. Happy International Women's Day.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Celebrate
And month.
and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
Yes. Good to see you, everybody.
Good to see you.